Okay, Let's Go UW. Want to know what games Bradshaw was watching off of his comments saying 8 needs more weapons. The days of having a Hall of Fame team around a quarterback are long over.
He's calling out Brad. He say, Terry, just because you had a Hall of Fame squad, don't mean that everybody can have a Hall of Fame squad. All right? Because that is part of what you even said yourself of why you knock Bradshaw's 4 rings over Ben's 2 rings. And Bradshaw having an MVP as well, you said it's because of the team that he had around him and the talent that he had around him. So I know you're definitely going to agree with this, man. Yeah,
I think at any one, and it was different eras, but at any one given time, I think Ben only had 2 max on the roster. I'm not even talking about like just Troy, offense. Like one of them might have been on defense.
Yeah.
Troy Faneca, and then as time goes on, I mean, you get AB in the mix. Troy Harrison, but yeah, AB wasn't even on the team. It was not like that, and Harrison wasn't even like Hall of Fame Harrison. Late stages of his career. Yeah. That was really it. That was really it. But Bradshaw's comments. Well, I liked just the baseline of what he said. Like, stick with Pickett. Like, trust me, he's a mentally tough kid. Like, hard worker, etc., etc. All the stuff that he was saying after the Rams game, I believe, when he went on the Fox post game and was like, Pickett's my guy, man. Like, I'm sticking with him. Like, he's not giving you the greatest of stats right now, but he's a winner. Like, just trust me, the stats will come. Just he's the guy for this team. He's the right player. So I'm with all that. In terms of building the team around Pickett, I think he should have been more specific. I think he should have just talked about the O-line because I think we have weapons. I get what he's going for, though. And I also think he should have mentioned get Pickett a better offensive coordinator, which I think we have. But those would have, I think, been more valid reasons to back up his argument than just saying get him weapons. We got weapons.
Yeah, we do got weapons. Like he don't have enough talent around him. You're like, bro, Kenny has weapons.
We got weapons.
Yeah, he got weapons.
Now, were they living up to the best of their ability during Kenny's tenure last season? Like, there's an argument for that, too. I know we could talk about Canada. We could talk about Pickett and him being up and down. But, I mean, receivers, Hodge was talking about. He's like, these dudes ain't running their routes.
But to an extent, this is kind of what brings it back to what we said. It's not always on one person, but it does kind of come back to Kenny.
The offense was a mess. Like Pat P said, like, the offense was just stale. And Canada was at the head of it over these last 3 years, calling the plays, being the coordinator. And something needed to give. Yeah. Just flat out. Could Pickett play better? Could the receivers play better?
The receivers, you would also have to turn around and give them the same amount of praise because, once again, everybody's play and production went up. Kenny was the only one who didn't get a chance to show more because he got hurt.
Yeah, at least.
But the receivers, the receivers have already showed. They're like, hey, bro, we nice. It ain't us. The old line, it was like, hey, bro, look, it ain't us. You step in the pocket, bro. You straight. Mason was like, hey, bro, I can cook with this playbook. I ain't tripping on the playbook. So that's the part where it kind of boils back to Kenny. All right, so you still going to have to come out here and show where you right or where you wrong. You know what I mean? Or where you right or where we wrong. Like, that's going to be it. But, yeah.
I like this comments, though.
Yeah. And in terms of Terry supporting Kenny, I don't hate it. For me, man, as an alumni, you got to pick and choose, right? You either take the approach that, you know, you're going to be more of like how I kind of do it where we just, you know, who's available and we're kind of just talking about it, no feelings involved with it. Or you can do the whole, man, I'm really going to endorse this player and I'm going to be real specific about why I'm doing it. And I think for Terry, that's what he's doing with Kenny right now. I don't think it's a negative. I do like it for Kenny because right now, the same thing that Kenny is talking about, I was listening to a Justin Fields interview. We'll talk about that where he was just talking about somebody where it's like, bro, everything just seems so negative around you. You're like, man, I don't want to just see the negative or hear the negative every single time. Like, somebody give me some love. So for a guy like Terry Bradshaw, a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champ, a guy that was drafted here, a guy that has already had success here, coming back and being the guy that's also publicly saying, no, I do support this dude. I do think that if you actually give him some time, he could develop into what y'all actually hope he is or want. We think that he already can be that. Just give him some time as a player. Man, that's one of the best feelings ever when you hear a guy
Terry
like
Bradshaw.
that. That's like 100%.
Terry Bradshaw and Ben. Those are the two guys you want to hear from here.
Absolutely. That's going to make you feel a lot more confident, but it's also going to give you more urgency to make sure that you don't let them down. because you know what those dudes are. You know what they mean to football, let alone the Steelers. So when they put their neck out there and say that, man, no, I'm saying that he's good, that's a lot. So to an extent, I do feel like for Kenny, he's even more so going to want to prove those dudes right and validate what they're saying, because we know those are what we call legends in the NFL. Forget just Pittsburgh. Those are NFL legends. And they don't typically talk like that about dudes, you know, especially if they don't deem them worthy. So that's the part for me where I'm like, for Kenny, that's also a positive check. So I do like that for him, man.
And I think some of Bradshaw's past plays into his comments here on Kenny, because as I mentioned,
you brought it up.
I mentioned, months ago, you guys got to watch this Terry Bradshaw documentary on YouTube. Dude, it took him like 4 or 5 years to get things right. And the fan base was like so against him. He was getting benched, and then it clicked. It finally clicked. Now, this is a different time. I'm not saying we give Kenny 4 or 5 years, but I think the signs are there. There's definite signs there that he can be the guy. And I don't want to give up on him like that, especially with him going into a third year and with him not getting a full sample size in over these first 2 seasons, particularly without Matt Canada.
Yeah.
He's been banged up, but we only got a game and a half
without him.
Yeah, without Canada, man. And it was looking good to me. I thought we were going to win that Cardinals game until he got hurt. We had the 4th and 1 shotgun run with Najee, and that was that game. That was a disaster in and of itself. But yeah, I think some of his Bradshaw's past, and that's the perspective he's coming from. Like, look, I was given some time.
Yeah,
and
it worked out for me, man.
You see how it played out. Yeah. Like, maybe he sees some of that same mental toughness or whatever it is that he had that finally got it to click at some point, and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like the comments.